Oh, okay. Uh, Hi.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
I'm fine.
How are you?
I'm good. It's cold here. It's snowing again.
Oh, really? It
Yeah,
wasn't
we've
look like
about
that.
we've about between 4 and 6 inches of snow coming tonight.
Yeah, but you're wearing shirts. Like, look what I wear. I
It's warm. I'm indoors, so it's
Oh
warm.
yeah,
Yeah. So what you call cold in China, where you are in Shenzhen,
Shenzhen.
that is nice for us, right? Like our cold here right now in let me see what it is in centigrade. I need to get the centigrade the measurement in centigrade. I know what it is in Fahrenheit, but it's 21 degrees Fahrenheit. So actually, no, it's not. It's 18. So 18 Fahrenheit is about
Minus
it's
12.
in the minus. Yeah, it's
Minus 14.
-8.
Oh,
Wow.
-8.
It's -8 centigrade. Yeah, so it's kind of it's chilly here.
Wow.
Yeah, so we have snow tonight. Maybe 4 to 6 inches of snow tonight.
So no school, no work tomorrow.
Oh no. That's nothing for us. No, if there's a foot of snow, if there's 8 or 10 or 12 inches of snow, they might consider stopping school. But it needs to be about 10 or 12 inches for like because we're used to the snow, so we're used to driving in it. It's different. If you're in the southern states where it's warmer, like Florida, Florida
Uh-huh.
gets a half of inch of snow and the whole place shuts down. We
Oh,
get 6 inches of snow and we go and drive through it. We don't care. So
yeah.
we're used to it, so it's different.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
tell. But like snowing is always fun. Shovel the snow.
No, I have no. Shoveling snow is no fun. That's why you have a machine and you start it up and you walk behind it and it clears the snow for you. Why do it the hard way when you can do it the easy way, right? Hey
Yeah.
Nancy, hey Michael, hey Andy.
How? Hi.
Yeah, so I have a snow blower, so I walk along behind it and it clears the snow for me. It's way easier than being out there for 2 hours with a shovel doing this. No, thank you. Way too much work.
Like I saw some videos people shoveling the car, like the car is buried in the snow, and then when they try to get a car out, that's really a good like
We
big
get that.
challenge.
Now we get that sometimes. Yeah, but driveways are hard to clear. Sidewalks we do them as well, and that's a lot of snow to move. Um, if it's less than 6 inches of snow, it's not a problem. When it gets when it gets over 6 inches, you often have to go out and do it twice. Like you do when it reaches about 6 inches deep, you clear it, and then the next morning you go out again and do it again because if there's heavy snow, you don't want it to be too deep because anything more than maybe 12 or 18 inches, your snowblower will struggle with it. So you have to try and keep it to a manageable level when we get it. So, but we've been okay. Most of our snow has actually melted off in the last few days. So we're getting cold now for a few more days, and it's snowing again, and it's going to be warm again. It's going to be in the 50 degrees, which is about 10 or 12 degrees centigrade next week. So we're going through the transition into our spring now.
Yes, that will be nice. So similar to here. Like
Yeah.
in Shenzhen, we have the coldest, I think,
Yes.
coldest days these days.
Okay, what is your coldest though?
6. I don't know the Fahrenheit, but it's
No,
6.
centigrade.
It's 4, the lowest 4.
4
Yeah.
degrees.
Yeah, 4 degrees.
It never snows.
We have people.
It's really cool enough for us.
But we have people in Michigan we have people who go out in shorts and t-shirts when it's snowing here.
I know.
I'm not kidding you. I don't like the cold, and I have neighbors who go out for a walk, and there'll be 6 inches of snow on the ground, and they'll take the dogs out for a walk in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. And I look at them and saying, "Guys, you must be crazy."
Wow. And also eating the ice cream.
Well, most of the ice cream parlors close down here in winter. They're seasonal, but yeah, it is. Some people like the cold; they enjoy it. I'm only happy when it goes over 70 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 70 is about 20 degrees centigrade, roughly. 20, I think it is. When it's above 20 degrees, I'm happy. I don't like the cold.
Yes. And Norm
Minus
said
20.
today,
Wow.
yeah, and Norm said today it was negative 20 degrees here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
I,
non-fam, we had that last week and the week before. So it's your turn now, not mine.
good luck.
Minus 17 in Quebec. Oh yeah, well you're north of us, so you have winter longer than we do. Now I'm in Michigan. For those of you who do not know, I'm in Michigan. So we're starting to transition into our. We're getting warm days and cold days, and warm days and cold days. We're slowly transitioning into our spring weather. The sooner it comes, the better.
Yes. So, do you want to
Sorry, I was just checking the laser.
Okay, should we get started right now? And do you want
Sure.
to introduce a little bit about yourself? So people
Okay. Well, my name is Liam. Those of you who do, some of you know me, some of you don't. I have a channel called Astropreneur. It's Astropreneur because I'm into astronomy and physics and science and 3D printing and lasers and CNC and so on. So I have a laser going on in this chamber right behind me, right here. Because I use some lasers during the winter in the house, I have a chamber set up behind me, and I have an extraction system on that, so I can actually use the laser in the house, and then it sucks the smoke and so on out of the house. I'm Irish originally. I moved to the US about almost 15 years ago. This year it'll be 15 years this year, and but I got into 3D printing and so on, and being a maker by trying to make stuff for my telescopes. I have many telescopes. Some of you who do know me, like Clint and Non-Fam and so on, you guys already know me. Every Wednesday night I do maker hangouts on my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/Astropreneur. When I get new machines, and I do a lot of beta machines and review machines that I get in, and I try and do those on a Saturday morning my time, which is US Eastern. And I like being involved in the community. It's fun. I like sharing ideas, helping people out, and I'm always on. You'll find me in most user groups that I have products for, and I try and help out whenever I can. That's pretty much me.
Oh, that's so cool. Like I'm sure there's some new faces here.
Yep.
So we are really glad you make such a good introduction. And so what's going on here? Do you have any projects going on and that you are really excited about?
Well, not related to the laser. I have one that I'm working on. Well, I'll be starting it actually this coming weekend. I have an Ender 3 Pro, which I only got for this one project. I never had an Ender 3 until recently, and I got an Ender 3 Pro that cost me $100, so it's a really good deal. And I'm going to be converting it to a belt printer, and I'm going to be doing it live on stream. So it'll be over a specific few weeks. It won't be a one shot, but I'll be taking the Ender 3 and I'll be building it. The Ender 3 is back here, and here is my belt that I'll be putting onto my Ender 3. So I'll be turning it into a belt printer with an Ender Z. So that's going to be over the next couple of weeks. That'll be a fun one.
So like you are going to how long are you like going to finish it?
Oh, I don't know, because this is a beta of a conversion kit, and there is no instructions. So I'll be figuring it out as I go.
Yes.
I have an idea I have a good idea in my head of how it all goes together, but it'll be since they haven't released instructions yet, because this is a beta kit to do the conversion. Even the guys who've designed it don't have instructions out there or anything. So it'll be figure it out as we go, and it'll be fun, because the nice thing about doing stuff live like this, when I do that conversion, I will have members of the community like Non-Fam and D with 3D and a whole host of other guys will be on the stream with me, and they'll be in chat, and they'll all have ideas of how to do it, and with all of us together, we're going to figure it out. So one way or the other, we'll get it built.
Yeah. Good luck on that. We are really excited to see that.
It'll happen, I hope.
make a like 10 hours long video, YouTube videos.
Well, no, I'm going to do it in each maybe 2 hours each week. I'll do some more work each week, and then the next week I'll do another section on it, and I'll slowly work my way through it. I won't be able to do it in one go because, as I said, we're trying to figure out how it works. So each section I do, and then I'll try and look ahead and figure out what parts go where, and then the next week we'll go on and do it. I have a whole box of components there that we have to put into this, and I have no clue where they go. So we'll figure it out, and we might even use it to take photographs as I go, and we can use that to make an instruction manual on how to do it.
Yes, that would be really nice. Like making an instruction manual on the way, so people can really follow one step by step. Oops.
Grab some images out of that if needed. So we may. Are you back? Okay, I thought it was my internet went down. I went checking to see if my internet was faulty.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Like we have a little bit test and try about the internet here.
As long as we're back up, yeah. So so yeah, it's all about being a maker is all about trying stuff out, figuring out a way, figuring out solutions to problems, and that's what we do as makers, and that's why we have 3D printers to make parts that we need that we can't find elsewhere to solve our issues, right? That's what half of being a maker is all about.
Yes, and you told us yesterday about the packaging. What's the term? I can't remember the internet.
Oh well, that's for your internet. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the for prioritizing the internet speed. Yeah.
So we are also like testing it right now to see if that really works.
Yeah, package shipping does work. My background is IT. That's what I do. That's where I come from, and package shipping does give priority. So if you're competing for internet connectivity, it allows you to go out your internet connection to go out first overhead everybody else's. They get slowed down, you get the speed that you need.
Yes.
It will help.
So our IP guy is here and helping us with that. So if we have a little bit of disconnection, if the disconnection is a little bit bad, I think we will come back pretty soon.
Well, I'll just keep talking. If I'm still on stream, I'll just keep talking. Non-fan and some of the other guys knows I'm really good at talking.
Yeah. So we prepared some questions for you and ask you about your laser experience.
Sure. Let me change my screen first of all, because I actually have a laser job running in the background, and I can put it in the bottom. Actually, I can put it in the corner. No, I tell you what. I'll make it the main part of it. There we go. So I'm actually just burning a logo. What I'm doing is I decided to take. I have a couple of. I'm a science nerd, so I'm into Star Wars and stuff. So I'm actually burning this logo on a piece of wood right now, and I'm going to do some of the others if we have time, so you can see it happening live while we talk.
Okay. Yes. So first question is what's your experience on this laser engraving machine? So what's the initial intention that drives you into this area?
Okay, lasers are. Well, you can make fun projects out of lasers. Like, if there are easy ways of making like simple GIFs. Some people can actually make money out of it from working out of home. If people in your area are interested in buying them, like, I'll give you an example. Let me put myself full screen again, and I can show better. Let's see this screen. So you can do fun stuff like this. And you could, you might be able to sell them in your neighborhood or give them away as gifts, or you can this is another one. This is another nice one. This was done on basswood. The last one was plywood, This is done on live edge basswood, so it's a slice of material of a plank of wood, but you can actually do nice designs like this, and give them, and then varnish them, and then you can give them to people as housewarming gifts and all this kind of stuff, or
Yes.
like for children's births and all this. You can do an awful lot with it. So it's interesting that you can do stuff like this, and you can get really creative. The only limitation really is what you can come up with in your mind, right? And there's a lot of good examples out there on the web of different types of projects that people have done.
Yes.
Like I do. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I do some stuff, but I don't like. There's other people out there, and that's all they do. And they have Etsy stores and all this kind of stuff. So they actually make money by doing items like. Do I have any samples here? I don't. There's people out there who. Oh, here's one. I have one example, like doing coasters like this. There's an awful lot you can do with a diode laser. You can even cut with them, but with the 5 watt, you can cut, but it's best the 5 watt. I personally use a 5 watt just for engraving, but you can do some cutting material like basswood, 3mm basswood. You can cut really easily. Plywood you can cut after with multiple passes, but you can do it. Like here's an example of a box that was done. So these are actually
A cutting.
this was actually cut, and then you just, and I only have it held together taped, but to show it. But like you can actually make little boxes and so on out of a bit of plywood. That's 3mm plywood that was cut in the laser. So you can. Into lasers, but have something that you could actually give to a friend, give to a family member, maybe even sell them online.
Yes, that would be so great. And we also like in the previous the ones before that, we also have the cutting materials as well. Like we also cut something. We made a
tiger box.
yeah the tiger.
Oh yeah,
box.
I was watching that actually. Yeah.
And eventually we made it. Did you like in the live stream? We don't have enough time to even like finish coloring it. And
I was the one that was giving you a hard time about painting skills.
Yeah.
And now I have to admit, I can't. I'm really bad at painting. So like I do some 3D print, some models in 3D printing and so on. I don't paint them. If I can't do it with a spray can, it doesn't get done because I'm really bad at painting.
Yeah. And like painting is always like a hard time for us as well. We take a lot of time painting it, and also we take a lot of time assemble it.
Yeah.
Like it's like individual pieces, and you have to make sure it fits every hole here.
Yeah, that would be slow work. Yeah, I don't think I would have the patience for that. The reason why I'm not good at painting is I don't think I have the patience for that kind of stuff. I like 3D printing and I like lasers because you can you design it, you set it up, you test it to make sure it fits the area you want. You hit go and you just stand back and let it work. That's the nice thing about lasers and 3D printers again as well. They're going to 3D printers. You put something on a 3D printer, you hit go, and you sit there and you can say, it'll be done by tomorrow, or it'll be done in 4 days. But just let it work, and as long as it doesn't fail, all is good, right? Yeah. So that's the nice thing about them. Now, you like the difference is, a 3D printer you can leave it on its own, a laser you can't.
Yeah.
You have to be in the room with the laser. Yes. I have in this room alone. I have two fire extinguishers because I have lasers here.
Oh no, that was really kind of dangerous to.
Well, it's not because I've never had a fire.
Uh-huh.
I have them in case there's ever a fire. So you have to. That's why you never leave them. You have to be in the room with them. Like I have one. Never have a laser in a room without one of these ever,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
if something does catch fire, and if you can't get to it fast enough and it flames up, you need to respond to it. So, what do you
Yeah,
mean by
that
poor Liam, Michael? But yeah, so I always have fire extinguishers. I'm in this room because I do a lot of my hobby stuff here. So I keep them near close at hand for safety because lasers can start fires.
yes.
But if you watch them and you're in a room with them and you can respond to them, like I have a camera on mine, as you see over here, I have a camera, so I can actually watch what the laser is doing without staring or being over there staring in through the opening in the enclosure. I can actually watch it real time, but I'm not far from it. I'm maybe
Like
5
next
or
door.
10 steps away from it, so I can get to it quickly if I need to. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And we also make one of this. That's, I don't know if you can see.
I don't think I saw that one.
It's the love sign.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I know. Yeah, but I don't think I've seen you make that one.
No, we are running a TikTok here, and then we make like those stuff for the TikTok.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes. Oh, so if I don't know how many people there are using TikTok, but if you guys have TikTok, please follow Comgrow and Comgrow UK -UK. That's our account, and we are trying to show like how trying to show what kind of things we can cut on our Z1 machines, so
Yep.
people can better understand, know more about our machine.
Yeah, you have a very strong following on YouTube as well. For the Z1 and the Robo and so on, there's a very strong following in the community there, so it's good.
Yes, yes. So we also we prepared a whole bunch of questions to ask you. Maybe
Okay.
some of them are really critical, but please answer the questions.
Sure.
Yes. So the first one is, did you find it a difficulty
When you first
When you
use
first-
the J1,
when you first
No. Well,
like the
no, because I've used the software I used for it before, and it was easy to set up. I use Lightburn, and I like Lightburn. It's a really good software. I have noticed, actually recently especially, but there has been some in the past, of people struggling with laser Gerbil a little bit. But when they use Lightburn, it goes easy because Lightburn is a well-developed software, and I know it costs money. I think it's $65 or $70, but you get a good software that connects, and it connects all the time, and it just works. I've never had, like, I have 7 diode lasers, and every one of them I connect with Lightburn without issues. I have used laser Gerbil a little bit in the past, and I have struggled with it. Sometimes it connects, sometimes it doesn't. But Lightburn has never failed me. So that's why when you use the right tools, connecting and managing and doing stuff on it is easy.
Yes. So before you assemble the Z1 and use the Z1, you already have the experience with the laser cutting, and also like
A
the
little, yeah. I've had some experience with it, yeah. It's not doing stuff on a laser is not hard once you understand how it functions, right? It's not difficult, really. It isn't. It's you just need to know. It's all about practicing speed and power. That's what it's about. It's a balance of speed and power. You know the maximum power your machine can do, and it's all about getting the right speed with the right power. And you don't want to go over too high in the power all the time, because then you're always running fast and you can get issues with that. You're better off to get the right speed, to get a medium speed, like I'm doing these ones right that I'm running right now, at 1,500 millimeters a minute, and at power of 60% power on the laser. And they're all, you see in the screen beside me there. Let me bring it up to larger. Let's see. There, it came out really nice. So it's all a matter of balancing your speed and your power. If you always run at 100%, your diode laser is going to die, because a diode laser is not designed to run at 100% all the time. But if you get if you slow down your speed and or drop your power and slow down your speed, you can get beautiful results. So it's about a balance, right? And if you understand the balance involved and do some testing on the material, you'll get the results you're looking for.
Yes. So so may I ask what speed and power you are using to engrave the
Okay.
the picture you are showing?
Sure. This one is actually 1,500 millimeters a minute, and it's at 60% power. Now, when in Lightburn has two settings. They have millimeters a minute or millimeters per second. The millimeters per minute in the settings is for diode lasers. The millimeters per second is for a CO2 laser, like this one over here. Can you see that? Am I pointing the right way? Let me bring up my camera so I can see it easier for myself here. So, okay, that's in my way. Let me change the screen around a bit. In my main screen, this is my CO2 laser. That's on millimeters per second, because it's a lot more powerful. Whereas a diode laser that's in here, like the Z1, is measured in millimeters per minute.
So, what's the biggest difference between the CO2 laser and diode laser? What do you think?
There's two main differences, I think. The CO2 laser is way more powerful. But like that's a 40-watt laser, right? Whereas a diode laser is 5 or 10 watts. But it's different type of energy again. So on a CO2 laser, it can do stuff a lot faster because it's far more powerful. So you can move faster, you can complete tasks faster. But a CO2 laser does not do photographs very well. Like if you want to embed a photograph of somebody on a piece of wood, a CO2 laser does not do that very well, because a CO2 laser does not support PWM, or pulse width modulation. Whereas a diode laser is PWM driven, and because of that, it can vary the power of the energy as it works of the laser. Whereas on a CO2 laser, the laser's on or off at a percentage. You cannot change the power; it's on or off. Now, one of the advantages of a CO2 is stuff like clear acrylic. A diode laser can engrave clear acrylic by putting a paint over it, like tempera paint. But a diode laser cannot cut clear acrylic. A CO2 laser, because the beam of light, like a diode laser, the blue diode lasers, its laser beam is just in a visible spectrum of light, so it'll pass through clear materials. Whereas the CO2 laser is not in our visible range, so its energy doesn't matter whether it's something absorbs or not. It can pass through it and still cut. So the CO2 laser will cut clear acrylic very, very, very easily, and a diode laser will not be able to do that.
Yeah. So CO2 laser can cut more cleaner, like.
Yeah, it can do higher energy and cut faster and cleaner, but there's a lot more involved in a CO2 laser than a diode laser. A diode laser, you get the component, they get the frame, you put it on a table, you put your part underneath it, you focus, you plug it all in, and you connect it to your computer, you run your software, say go, and it does it, right?
Mm-hmm.
On a CO2 laser, you have to have the laser, you have to have fume extractions for sure. You absolutely must have fume extraction. You have to have a water cooling system, because if you don't cool it, the laser tube, which is a glass tube in the back of the laser, will overheat and actually fail very, very, very quickly without a water cooling system. Like maybe 5 minutes and it's dead. Whereas you have to be pumping water through the system. So it's not as easy, it's not as mobile. It needs to be set up and left there and run. Whereas a CO2 or a diode laser, you can bring it to your neighbor's house or over to your family's or your cousin's house or your parents' house or wherever you want, and plonk it on a table with a computer, and you can make it work. You can't do that with a CO2 laser. There's a lot more involved.
Oh yeah, I can tell. Do you have any problems when you're using the diode laser? Like maybe specific on Comgo Z1?
No,
Like, no problem.
I haven't come across any problems with it because I understand how they work, and focus is important. So if you understand about focus, like a lot of people will focus to the top of a surface and they expect to cut with that. You can't do that. If you're going to, if you focus to the top of a surface, then you're going to be engraving. If you want to cut something, let's say a 3 millimeter piece of plywood, you need to focus to the middle of the plywood, about 1.5 millimeters down. Your focus point should be halfway through the material, and then it will cut because the energy is concentrated halfway through the material, so it'll allow it to cut.
Oh, I see. So like the
Yeah.
focal point is in the inside, like
Inside the material, yeah, as deep as you can cut with a pass. So it's like glasses, right? You wear glasses. If your glasses like if your glasses are out of focus, you can't really see what you're doing, right? You can't aim, you can't concentrate, you can't make it out. And if they're too far or too close, you struggle with seeing, right? But when they're in the right spot, everything is clear. And the same goes for a laser. The right spot on top is for engraving. The right spot part of the way through the material that's when you cut. So a 5-watt laser, you'd be going down maybe 1 millimeter, 1.5 millimeters below the surface. That's where your focus point should be to do cutting. Now, on the 5-watt, on the Comgrow laser, if you're cutting, that red shield may get in your way. So you have to remember, you have to take it off because its focus point is only 2 millimeters above the surface of the material. So if you want to drop 1.5 millimeters, now you're only 0.5 millimeter above the material and you might rub off it. So your focus point, you might, if you're doing cutting, take off that red shield. Make sure you actually wear glasses, safety glasses, of course, but take off the red shield. Then you can drop your focus so it's actually inside the material, not in the surface, if you want to use it for cutting.
Okay. Yes. Thanks for sharing with us.
I've done it with a 10-watt, actually. I took the focus off I have the 5 and the 10-watt. This is the 10-watt version. Let me change my screen around. Sorry.
Okay.
No, I'm controlling the screen on it, and I need to make myself make it easier for me to be seen. So there you go. So I took the shield off this one, so now I can actually move it up and down for cutting material. I can get closer to the material if I need to, so I no longer depend on the 2 millimeter gap, and that's only for cutting. And I use a 10-watt. I use a 10-watt for cutting. I use a 5-watt mostly for engraving.
For engraving, yeah. 10 watts has much more powerful than 5 watts. Like a lot.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a big difference. Like you'd think it's only it's actually, if you're doing a power of 60% and you do it at 30, that'd be okay. You may actually have to back your energy down to 25 to actually do an engraving with the CO2, or greatly increase your speed, over double your speed. To be able to engrave at the same level because it's way more powerful. Big difference.
Yes, so there are some new customers who asking, what's the difference between 10 watts and 5 watts? And like, do you have any idea about?
Well, I can explain how they work. So a 5-watt laser is a single diode inside the laser that's firing out a laser beam. A diode laser never goes above 7 watts in a single diode. So in a 10-watt laser, you actually have 2 5-watt diodes in there, and the beams are merged to come out as one beam. So you're actually getting twice or more, slightly more than twice the energy coming out.
Yeah.
So and that's how they work. So there's 2 diodes, and the beams either go through a prism to make it with a single beam. So you're actually concentrating twice the amount of energy. That's how they work. And if you ever hear of, sorry, go ahead.
So it will become more powerful, and it can use more materials.
You're doubling the amount of light coming out, and that light is being focused, which gives you twice the amount of energy coming out. That's how they work.
Mm-hmm. As you can tell, like we do a lot of cutting here, so
lots of 10 watts.
Yeah. So we usually I always use 10 watts because it's just easier to cut the materials. For 5
watts, so Michael just said there he does his engraving. Like I'm doing engraving at 60% power on a 5-watt. Michael says he does most of his on a 10-watt at only 10% power, which sounds about right because you have to really drop it down or really increase the speed that you're moving because It's not double. It's more than double the output is what you're getting.
Yes, it's the balance between the power and the time. I personally usually do 100% power and with 6,000 like millimeter per minute.
For cutting.
Like it's like the max speed and max.
Well, no, actually, it's not. There's a property in Gerbil that you can change through your software, and you can increase that to 10,000.
Oh.
Yeah, you can actually
But
up the speed. 6,000 is what's on the it's on the firmware today. But if you take out the 5 watt and put on a 10 watt, you can increase the speed. There's a property you can go into the properties settings, and you increase the speed from 6,000 to 10,000 maximum, and you can actually run at 10,000 on that machine if you want to.
Oh wow! So it will be much way faster.
Oh yeah. Now you wouldn't want to do it very often because it's like if I'm doing just like normal, like I'm doing right now, raster engraving, where the beam is going over and back. If I'm doing just that, 10,000 is fine. If I'm doing like you can go up as far as that speed. You probably wouldn't, but you can. But if you're doing vector engraving, like drawing lines and so on with the laser, you do not want to travel that fast because it's going to cause problems. But moving left to right is not an issue. So like if you're doing what's called vector engraving, which on this, you can't really see. It's okay. When you're drawing individual lines, shapes like lines, when you're doing vector engraving, you do, or line, they call it in Lightburn, you do need to slow down your speed. That means if you slow down your speed, you also have to slow down decrease your power, because you cannot do vector engraving at 10,000 millimeters a minute because the belts will skip. You'll run into issues moving in that fast. The unit is not designed to move that fast, making those sharp directional changes. But in raster engraving, which is going left to right or fill, it'll work fine.
Yes. So the Dupe Nope is asking, could you go over again the removal of shortcut?
Okay.
Yes.
So the diode laser is to focus the diode laser. It's 2 millimeters off the red shield to the print material. An easy way to do this is.
Sorry. Could you make your main screen larger?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I can switch things around. Just give me a second. I'm sorry. We want to get this one, so you can still see the laser and you can see me as well.
Yes.
So 2 millimeters to get 2 millimeters focus on your laser without having to measure it, get an SD card, a full-size SD card, and put that under your red shield. Bring your laser down to touch this, and then lock it in. Now you're 2 millimeters away from your material. So an SD card, a full-size SD card, is 2.05 millimeters thick. So that's the great spacer to set the distance for focus on the laser, right? Now, if you need to go below that to cut, if you're cutting material, you need to drop below that distance, right? Because your focus point's on the surface, it's going to burn the surface and then cut a little bit into it. But if you want to cut through material, let's say 3 millimeters material, and I know I can do roughly 1 millimeter per pass, what I'll do is I'll drop this. I'll use this as an example. This is fairly thick, so I wouldn't be cutting this. But if I want to cut this, even though I wouldn't with a diode laser, I want to set my focus point below the surface. So the shield, or that's in there, it's only held on by 4 screws. The little shield, there's 4 screws that screw in to hold the shield in place. You take that off, and then you can actually drop the laser. Did I lose? What happened there? Did I lose everybody?
I.
Oh, you made me full screen? Okay.
Now it's back. Now you're back.
I don't know what's going on. It's weird. So you drop it down, and then you cut it so the energy is below the surface, so it actually cuts through the surface a little bit deeper. And then you do 1 or 2 passes there, and then you drop it a little bit lower again, and then repeat the process. That way, then you're moving the energy focal point, where all of the energy comes out of the laser, to a point. That point is where you want the most of the work to be happening. So by putting it below the surface, it actually cuts deeper each time.
Yes. Okay, cool.
I don't know why the internet is flapping a little bit. My internet is normally really good, so it's weird.
Okay, I don't know. It's your side or our side.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay, but I hope just know I hope you hear that, and if not, we will post this live on the YouTube so you guys can be watching and see uh the explanation.
Yeah. Now you notice as well the ones I was showing you. Um,
Yes.
they're all kind of brown. The engraving is kind of brown, not black. I like it. I prefer it that way. If you want it really dark, you have two ways of doing it. You slow down or slow down your engraving speed or increase your power, or if you get a small bit of borax, which you can buy in a grocery store, and mix it with about a half gallon of water, maybe 1 or 2 teaspoons of borax with water, and actually and mix it up and put it into a spray bottle. Spray the wood and let it dry and then put it in the engraver. The borax will actually, with a lower setting, will actually make the engraving black.
Oh really? Oh wait, could you see that?
Sure. So you get borax, right?
What's
It's a powder. It's a cleaning powder, and you
okay?
mix borax with water. A good, like, you get maybe for about a half, maybe like a liter of water. You put in half a teaspoon or a teaspoon of borax. Mix it together, dissolve it, and put it in a spray bottle and spray the wood with the borax. Spray it with the borax, and let it
Yes.
dry, and then laser engrave the wood so it won't turn up brown anymore. It'll actually turn black because the borax will actually burn us with the wood and actually leave the engraving lettering darker, so you don't have to go higher power or anything like that. You can get the same result by using lower settings in your
Okay.
laser.
Okay, that's the new thing that I learned. Like I saw that some people posting the a great like engraving pictures, and it's
Mm.
usually darker. I
Well,
was
I
like,
wouldn't use it so much for pictures because, well, it depends. Pictures are tricky because there's a lot of variation in the light and dark areas, and you
yes,
don't want to over darken them because they actually take away. So you should do testing on the material, like if you're doing plywood or whatever. Test on that material to see the outcome, and then decide if you want to use borax or not.
okay, I will definitely try that
Yeah,
if I can get borax here. I don't know.
I'm sure you probably got to get the equivalent. If you look it up, I'm sure you can get an equivalent to it.
Yes. So Michael is saying my engraving with 10 watts is mainly below 10% power
Yeah, yeah,
because oh 10%.
yeah.
10 watts 10%, like the speed should be
Yeah.
slower.
Well, you don't. Well, again, like I'm doing. Well, no, you don't have to go that slow because you're doing. If you're doing side to side movement like raster engraving,
Mhm.
that's fine. You like I'm doing 1,500 and it's coming out really good, right? You can see it on screen. Um,
Uh,
you can switch the screens around here. So it's doing another one right now. You can see it's coming out really nice. But if I wanted it darker, I could slow it down or increase power. Um, But at a 10 watt, you don't want to have too much power because all it'll do more cutting than engraving. So you want to go fast and lower energy, lower power setting on the laser, and move faster to get the same results.
yes.
The balance I talked about earlier on.
Yes. And also, Mr. Chen is saying I have the 5-watt laser and it works great for engraving tumblers. It
Yeah,
would
it
be
works
nice.
with. Yeah, I have the rotary device, and I have to say I haven't used a rotary on my diode laser. I've used it on my CO2 laser, and I had to make an adapter harness to make it work. But I do have the Comgrow rotary device, and it works really well. But I've done stuff with this on my CO2 laser, which is
Mhm.
the larger one over in the corner here.
Yeah.
And it works really well. But haven't used it on a diode because if I want to do a tumbler, for me, this is because I have the equipment. Um, a CO2 laser is faster for me.
Yes.
But if I didn't have a CO2, yeah, I'd use it every day of the week for tumblers on a diode laser.
Okay. I was really interested in like what kind of work it's doing.
Yeah,
Um,
it varies. It depends on how fast I want to do something and how much energy I think it needs to make the engraving work. So it will vary a lot which one I would use, but I pick and choose based on what the outcome I want to get, and I know what they can all do. So
Okay, cool. So, and Michael said correct. I did increase mine to 10,000 as well, because the engraving I do is 6,000 and 10% power. But I do stainless around 600 millimeter per minute at 100% power. So besides the wood, have you ever tried other materials? Like
well, I've done stone. Which is-
stone.
Wow.
Yeah, I showed it to you a moment ago. That's actually slate stone. So that is stone.
Oh, I thought it was a stainless steel or something.
No, that's actually slate stone. That is slate.
Slate.
Yeah. So that and like that got stained a little bit because I had my coffee on it. But that was engraved with a 10-watt laser. You can do it with the 5, but you have to do it much slower. But you can get there with the 10 watt to do this. And the 5 will do it, as I said, but it's much slower. But a 10-watt is capable of doing this. Now this is very gray. If I was giving them to somebody, this is just for me. If I was giving them to somebody, I would give it a clear coat spray, and all of this gray area would actually turn black, and then this light area would stand out, and it would look really nice and finished, a nice finish on it. So I've done some for people where I engraved their school logo and so on, and then I sprayed it, and this gray turns really very, very, very black because it's a black stone, and it comes out. It looks beautiful.
Did you just use the regular spray, like the black sprays, just spray out?
I used you can get clear coat spray that you use for you can get in a hardware store for clear coating a car or whatever you want. Like if you're doing a clear coat, and if you spray something and you want to seal it with a clear coat, you can buy that in a hardware store.
Okay, cool.
You can get it gloss or not gloss.
Okay, I will definitely try that. Like,
Yeah.
You can also spray it on wood.
Yeah, I use clear coat a lot. I don't know if I have anything here that was done. I don't think I do. But I use clear coating seals the wood. So if you do it on wood or whatever, you clear coat it. When you're working on it, if you spill something on it, you don't end up getting stains like I got on this one right here, right? Because it's protected with like it's a clear varnish coating, and it seals it and protects it.
Yes. Cool. And we also cut some stuff here. So this is like 3 millimeter polywood and the acrylic. As you can see, we cannot cut through the acrylic, but we can leave some. We can engrave a little bit on the acrylic, and then we use the just acrylic
paint. You paint over it or whatever. Yeah.
Paint over it.
Well, if to engrave a clear acrylic, you use there's a paint. What is it called? I have some of it here. I can't find it right now. There's a paint you can get that you put on over the acrylic, and then you laser engrave the acrylic with the paint on it, and then you wash it in water, and the paint comes right off, and you get the nice engraving left behind.
Wait, can you say that again? I'm so interested.
It's paint that's used with kids, so it's water washable. It's easy to wash, and you get the black paint, and you paint on a really very thin coat. If you can get on the acrylic, and then laser engrave the acrylic with a diode laser, and then afterwards wash the acrylic off in warm water, slightly warm water, and it'll wash away because it's easy. It's designed for kids. They can get in their clothes. And when you do that, it comes out really well. And then you have to engrave deeper because it won't engrave very well on clear because the light will pass through it because it's visible spectrum laser. But if you put paint over it and engrave, the paint absorbs the energy of the laser and allows it to burn deeper.
Oh, I see. No wonder, when they do
it's all physics. It's all physics.
Yes.
I'm afraid that you need to absorb the energy to get an output. So you need something to absorb the energy, which is the black paint.
Okay, cool. I see. So we also did other materials. We did fiber, and we also did letters.
I've done paper. I've done card. I've done leather.
This is one.
Yeah,
The
they came out nice. Yeah.
Yes. And also the bamboo wood.
Bamboo. Yeah. Oh, talking of bamboo, this is bamboo.
Wow.
Oh wow. That's so cool. That's the big piece.
Yeah.
like
So that took 5 hours.
5 hours. And what's the speed and the
I was doing it at 1,400 millimeters, and at 70% power. Because bamboo is weird. Because bamboo like this, each layer is different thickness or different color, and the amount of energy will vary from each of them. So I went high enough to get all of it. And so I did. And this is a mixture. There's two things in this. There's first of all, there's the raster or fill engraving, where the laser goes over and back like this,
yes.
and that took most of the time. And then if you look really close, I'll have to step out and get close to the camera. But if you look really close along the edges of this, they're super clean. It's dark lines. Let me come over here and show you. See how clean the edges are of that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
wow.
after doing the vector engraving,
Oh, you
after
also
doing
like
the vector engraving over and back, I actually went 2 passes on doing line or rastering, or sorry, after doing raster engraving, I did 2 passes of vector engraving, which means I followed the outline of the laser beam, and I did it at a slightly slower speed, and it burned and cleaned up all of the edges. I made a really nice finish to it.
yes. I think you can like just sell this.
Wow, that's actually the
it's
logo for my son. That's the logo for my son's school.
Oh no one. It's
Yeah, it's his school that he goes to. That's the crest for the school, and that's what I did. I was decided I wanted to try out a really long burn, so I did that.
Yes. That's cool.
Yeah.
So is that for a gift or
No, I was just testing, and it took
cool.
It took 5.5 hours.
5 hours. It's kind of it's about the time, I think.
Yeah.
It should be faster.
Well, with a 10-watt laser, I could do it in half that speed, or more, or less even. But I did it with a 5-watt. With a 10-watt, I could probably do that in 2.5 hours, 2 hours maybe. A much higher speed and higher energy power. So I would do 60% on the 10-watt. I could probably do it at maybe 6,000 millimeters, roughly. And that'd be really fast over and back to do. And that's the longest part, is doing the fill engraving.
Yes.
But that came out really nice. Yeah, that's. I was really happy with the results of that.
Yes, and I see, and we also saw that the result is nice. Like
Yeah.
the face.
I've only ever had one. When I got the 10-watt laser first, I decided to do a cut with it, and I melted the acrylic housing around it because I started a fire. But that's okay. That's why we test, right? But that's why you don't leave lasers alone. That's why you stick around with them. That's why you test. You get the material in there. You try higher speeds and you back the speeds down till you get a good finish.
Yes.
You don't overdo the power. You test, and you're standing by to make sure everything's okay. And I actually did it live on a stream. I actually did the upgrade, and I put the laser straight in, and it started off and it looked okay. And I was talking to somebody, and I turned my head and looked at the camera, and I said, "I have to go, guys." And I ran over it and I pulled it out, and it was actually after burning a hole, and is what it was doing. So it's okay. And all of the plastic housing around the laser, that's why all the plastic housing around the laser, this is all warped. It all warped and burnt, and some of it was black and burned. But that's okay. I don't have to have the cover on it because I have an enclosure, so I don't care.
Yes. And also you have the form like the air assistant.
I do not have air assist set up in this one. No, I haven't done air assist. For cutting, air assist makes a big difference. I haven't set up an air assist on the diode. On my CO2, I do have an air assist.
Okay, it helps. Does it really help to make it clear cut?
Well, it helps. The air assist it helps when you're cutting, especially because I need this. As you laser burns, it actually burns the wood inside, right, or the material, and that stays in there. So you want air blowing in there to blow that out of the way, first of all, and secondly, with air assist. I did mine, Michael, on the first day, so I'm one ahead of you. But they on when you're cutting, the air assist does two things. One, it adds oxygen so the laser can cut better, because forcing air into the area where the laser is. And secondly, if any flame comes up, a little bit of flame comes up, the forced air blows the flame out. So it actually decreases the chance of you having a fire when you're doing cutting.
Yes. I see. And let's move. Do you have the code? Oh, they are asking. They are chatting in our place.
Do I have to quote your by SS? What do you mean by SS? I'm not sure what you mean by charms. What you mean by SS? Do I have to call the SS? Can you explain, please? If I'm doing acrylic, you have to code it. If you're doing, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah, you'll come in and tell us. Oh, do you have tips for engraving plain aluminum? Okay. A diode laser, even though there are, in my opinion, and I've seen you guys have video of marking metal. I have seen diode lasers only barely mark. They don't even mark. They kind of color the surface by heating it, and they kind of temper the surface, which changes the color a little bit. It doesn't last. If you really need to want to engrave metals, you need a fiber laser. Fiber lasers will do metals. They'll do stainless steel. They'll do brass and copper. They're designed for actually engraving and indenting on the material. A diode laser will not really make an indent on metals. It'll do plastics, wood, it'll do leather and so on, no problems, but it will not really do a good job on metals. If you really want to do metals, you have to go with a fiber laser. Fiber laser, you're looking at about $1,500 to $2,000 for a fiber laser. So they are expensive. But if you want to do metals as a business, especially, a fiber laser is the way to go.
So, but when do on the Comgo Z1, we said that we can do on the coated aluminum. Is that?
Well, I've seen your streams on that, and it does what it really does.
Yeah.
And what it really does is it heats the surface, and because of heating the surface, it changes its color. It actually does not make an indent in the metal. A diode laser is not powerful enough to actually to make an indent in the metal. You need to ablate or vaporize the metal, right? And a diode laser doesn't really it doesn't have the energy to vaporize metal. Whereas a fiber laser, even a 10-watt fiber laser, will actually vaporize the surface of the metal and actually leave behind. You can actually feel an indent. Okay, Rich, you do metals. I don't, because it doesn't really indent them with a 10-watt. A fiber laser is the real way. Now, like Rich, the Louisiana hobby guy, he does a lot of lasering. I have done some lasering I've tested on metals. Nothing that I would say personally are actually engraved. It leaves marks. It doesn't actually engrave. Like now that I would say to do on a piece of wood, like it actually leaves an indent. But a fiber laser, yeah, that will vaporize the metal, which is what it's designed for.
Mm-hmm.
So
for the diode laser, for the diode laser, you cannot vaporize the material. It just have like to engrave a little bit the shape on the surface.
It will leave a mark. It will mark the surface, and you can see the marking on the surface. And I've seen you guys streams, and you can see the mark on the surface.
Yes.
But if you put your hand over that, you don't feel a dent in the material where the engraving is gone, like you would on a piece of wood or on other materials, because it doesn't have the energy to actually vaporize the metal. So what it's actually doing is it's anodized or coated aluminum, yes, for certainly, because you're burning off the anodized coating like a tumbler. you're actually ablating or burning off the coating. You're not actually affecting the metal. So it will work on anodized or coated, like painted or whatever like that, aluminum. You'll burn off the paint. That'll work great. But it will not ablate. Ablate means to vaporize the metal itself. And to actually do an indent like you would on a piece of wood, where you actually feel the indent on the material when you push your hand over it, to do
Yes.
that, you need a fiber laser, because what it does is the energy is so high, as it passes over, it actually vaporizes the metal. So the metal actually becomes a gas and vaporizes off the material. And that's real engraving. So
Yes.
there's a difference between marking and engraving. But if you have anodized aluminum, if you have like tumblers that are colored on the outside and you want to put marks on them, the diode laser is great for that. But it just won't actually burn into the metal itself.
Yes.
Yeah, you can coat the aluminum with, and you can get anodized coating. There's a question there about anodization. So, what you can coat, if you want, like if you had a metal that was spray painted or anodized metal, you can burn off the top, the anodized coating or the paint off it, and show the silver metal underneath, and that looks really pretty on tumblers and so on. So that's great for that, and you can do it with a diode laser. So if you want to engrave or give something as a presentation to somebody, spray the color, burn the paint off, which is what you're doing, and leave the metal behind, so the metal shines through where you engraved, and the rest of it stays the color you painted, being black, blue, green, whatever. As long as it's not white, because white will be a problem. But darker colors will work really well.
Yes. And also, what can you use to coat the aluminum?
As I said, well, I kind of answered that. You can get it anodized, like a 3D printer. 3D printer aluminum is actually dark color on most 3D printers, but real aluminum extrusion is this color. So what they do is they anodize they anodize it, and that actually allows it to your laser then burns off the anodization surface, and that allows the shiny material to shine through, right?
Yes.
Rich also mentioned there, the LA hobby guy, the Louisiana hobby guy mentioned about using Ceramark. Ceramark allows you to do darker marking on metals with a diode laser. But because it's Ceramark itself, which is it's kind of pricey. But if you put on Ceramark, which is you spray it on and let it dry, and then you engrave over that, and the Ceramark adds a little bit of a chemical change to the surface of the material. So whatever you engrave on the metal, it doesn't really burn into the metal, but it does come out darker. The Ceramark makes it darker.
Okay. And Jerry, say hi, Comgrow.
Hey Jerry, how are you? Yeah, dry moly also works. Yeah, that's another one similar to Ceramark that works as well. Ceramark is better. You get a better finish. Dry moly is another type of spray you can put on there. They're both kind of pricey, but Ceramark gives you a better result than dry moly.
Oh, okay.
Ceramark is designed for marking metals, whereas a dry moly is not really, but you can use to get there, but it's not as good.
Okay, cool. So I think it's about a time, like we have only an hour, and even though we have we also have other questions, but maybe we will leave to the next time. And
Sure, and if you want.
yeah, and thank you so much for sharing with us. I personally learned a lot, like how to code and how to cut the materials better. That really helps me a lot.
Sure, yeah. If you ever want me, just let me know.
Yeah.
The
3D.
let me see if how the coffee one is looking good.
Bye. Bye. Yeah.
Hi, Rich.
Good job. Good job, guys. So, okay, I think the internet. So I don't know if you guys can hear us, but thank you again for being here, and thanks for our audience to also chat with us. And hope you guys also have a good day.
Yes, and have
And
a good night.
Yes. So see you next
See
time.
you next time. Bye.
Bye. And thank you.
Oh, I'm back again. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. The internet is off again, so. 怎么样复制一下它的链接？没事。OK。Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Have a good night.
Yes.
Thank you
Take
so
care,
much.
guys. Yeah, if you can find me at Astropreneur on YouTube, and I'm also on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Astropreneur. I'll be on Twitch Saturday doing.
Okay. Cool. Sorry, I was like. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you
So.
so much.
Take care,
I'm
guys.
going
Bye.
to- Yeah.
Bye. Have a good night.